Okay, friends, welcome back. Resuming the briefing, I will start with a few announcements. The first is on the 20th summit of the SCO Council of Heads of State. Prime Minister will lead the Indian delegation to the 20th summit of the SCO Council of Heads of State, which will be held in the virtual format on the 10th of November. And this meeting will be chaired by President Putin of the Russian Federation. This will be the first SCO summit to be held in the virtual format, and this is the third meeting that will be participating as full members. You would recall that India was granted observer status of SCO in 2005, and in June 2017 we became full members. During the last 1 year under the chairmanship of the Russian Federation, we have been actively participating in various events and meetings. And if we look back over the last 3 years, we have maintained extensive engagement in all fields under the SCO framework. And this includes promoting multilateral, political, security, economic, and people-to-people interaction in the region. SCO also provides us an institutional platform to engage with Central Asian states and to prioritize our economic and trade cooperation. You would also recall that in the last SCO Council of Heads of State Summit, which was held in Bishkek in 2019, PM had given his vision for SCO with the acronym HEALTH, which is H for healthcare cooperation, E for economic cooperation, A for alternate energy, L for literature and culture, and T for terrorism-free society, and H for humanitarian cooperation. So we have since pursued this vision within the various activities of SCO. I would also like to inform you that we are going to host the SCO Heads of Government meeting on the 30th of this month in the virtual format, where Prime Ministers of SCO members would be participating. The second announcement is on Foreign Secretary's visit to Maldives, which will take place from the 9th to 10th of November. And this visit will be the first high-level in-person interaction between the two sides since the disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Foreign Secretary is scheduled to call on President Soli, and he'll also have substantive discussions with the Ministers for Foreign Affairs, Defense, Finance, Economic Development, Planning, Human Affairs, Tourism, and Youth and Sports. FS will also call on Speaker Mohammad Nasheed, and he will meet with other political leaders. As you would know, Maldives occupies a special place in our neighborhood first policy. And this time-tested and enduring relationship with Maldives has strengthened and deepened even further in recent months. India has also responded to Maldives in extending assistance in dealing with the COVID crisis. During his visit, Foreign Secretary will review the entire gamut of bilateral ties. He will also review the progress of ongoing bilateral projects. He will hold discussions on ongoing COVID situation, including our assistance to Maldives in the post-COVID economic recovery. Foreign Secretary's visit is testimony to the importance that India attaches to its relations with the Maldives, and it is expected to lend further momentum to our cooperation. And finally, an update on the Vande Bharat mission. From the 1st of November, Phase 8 of Vande Bharat mission has been made operational. Under this phase, 1,287 international flights have been scheduled, which will be operated from 27 countries, reaching 21 airports across the country. And these flights will repatriate an estimated 2.3 lakh people. These include flights from 18 countries with which we have a bilateral air bubble arrangement. Of these 1,287 flights, nearly 70% are from GCC countries, around 10% each from Europe and US and Canada. The remaining flights cater to demand from Southeast Asia, the neighborhood, Africa, Australia, and Japan. In terms of numbers, as of 6th of November, about 22 lakh Indians have been repatriated through different modes of the Vande Bharat mission. Now, I'll move to your questions. I'll request Yatin to take over.
So first set of question is on USA. उमाशंकर फ्रॉम एनडीटीवी इंडिया हैज आस्क्ड, अमेरिका के रुझान बता रहे हैं कि जो बाइडन राष्ट्रपति बनने जा रहे हैं। प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने हाउडी मोदी प्रोग्राम में अब की बार ट्रंप सरकार का नारा बुलंद किया था। बाइडन के राष्ट्रपति बनने की सूरत में क्या विदेश मंत्रालय को अतिरिक्त मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी ताकि बाइडन उस नारे को भारत के साथ रिश्तों में आड़े न आने दें? Akhilesh Suman from Rajya Sabha has asked, it seems from the current trends that Democrats may be having last laugh in US presidential elections. Would it impact the India-US bilateral relations? How is India preparing itself for the change? Manash from PTI has asked, with Joe Biden emerging ahead in the US presidential race, how India is looking at the election results? Is India preparing to do business with Democrat? How India sees the overall relations with US going forward? शैलेंद्र from News 18 has asked, अमेरिकी चुनाव के नतीजों में देरी और ट्रंप के कोर्ट जाने पर कोई रिएक्शन? जयप्रकाश from दैनिक जागरण has asked, अमेरिकी राष्ट्रपति चुनाव में सत्ता परिवर्तन के संकेत मिल रहे हैं। क्या इस संभवित बदलाव से भारत के साथ रिश्तों पर कोई असर पड़ेगा? भारतीय विदेश मंत्रालय भारत अमेरिका द्विपक्षीय संबंधों को अगले 5 वर्षों में कहाँ देख रहा है?
See, like you, we are also awaiting the election results. What I can tell you is that India-US relations rest on strong foundations, and our relations encompass cooperation in every possible sphere, extending from strategic to defense, to investment, to trade, to people ties. The comprehensive global strategic partnership has very strong bipartisan support in the US, and successive presidents and administrations have raised the level of this relationship even higher.
Next set of question is on Chabahar port. Suhasini from the Hindu has asked, this pertains to the statements by the MEA in July this year about India's continued engagement in Chabahar-Zahedan railway line. On November 4, Iran announced that it has inaugurated the second part of the line from Chabahar, specifying that it is being constructed by Khatam-ul-Anbiya Construction to fulfill the MOU between Islamic Republic of Iran Railways and Isfahan Steel Company on the production of railways, and will be completed totally by June 2021. Could the MEA please specify what part of this project India has been a part of till date? Are there plans for India to join the project at a later date? Sandeep Dikshit from the Tribune has asked, Iran has started work on laying the railway track from Chabahar port. In view of talks at 2+2, is there any likelihood of India rejoining the connectivity project when it has successfully sent huge amount of wheat consignments from Chabahar by road to Afghanistan?
I had provided detailed information on this project in July, and as of now I don't have anything further to add to it.
Shrinjoy from Times Now has asked, Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan has accused India of being fascist. Your comment please.
Shrinjoy, I think we should ignore such irresponsible statements. I don't think they should be dignified with a response. You know that it is an attempt to distract international and domestic attention from the enormous socio-economic and political problems that Pakistan faces.
Next question is from Prashant from Asianet. Is there any update on the gold smuggling case from UAE? Also, is there any progress in the examination of protocol violation regarding Kerala government's engagement with Red Crescent of UAE?
Prashant, you would know that one accused in the case has been arrested by NIA, and our agencies are working on the case. The matter is presently under investigation. We are receiving the requisite cooperation from UAE authorities. Since the matter is under investigation, therefore I would not like to comment on it further.
शैलेंद्र फ्रॉम न्यूज़ 18 has asked, पाकिस्तान ने करतारपुर गुरुद्वारे का रखरखाव पाकिस्तान एसजीपीसी से छीनकर पीएमयू को दे दिया है, जिसमें एक भी सिख समुदाय का सदस्य नहीं है। क्या भारत ने औपचारिक रूप से इस मुद्दे पर पाकिस्तान से विरोध जताया है? मधुरेंद्र फ्रॉम न्यूज़ नेशन हैज आस्क्ड, करतारपुर कॉरिडोर के मैनेजमेंट में चेंज कर पाकिस्तान ने जाहिर कर दिया कि उसका असली मकसद इस कॉरिडोर को लेकर क्या था। भारत ने कड़ी प्रतिक्रिया तो जताई है, लेकिन उसके आगे क्या कदम होगा? सिद्धांत फ्रॉम वियॉन हैज आस्क्ड, India has protested change in Kartarpur Gurudwara management in Pakistan. Have we summoned Pakistani envoy to register our protest?
You would have seen our earlier press statement on this, and we have pointed out that this unilateral decision by Pakistan is highly condemnable, and it runs against the spirit of the Kartarpur Sahib corridor. Today evening, sometime back, the CDA of the Pakistan High Commission was summoned and our protest was lodged with them. We have conveyed that this decision runs against the spirit of the Kartarpur Sahib corridor. It has also hurt the religious sentiments of the Sikh community at large. We have been receiving representations from the Sikh community expressing grave concern at this decision by Pakistan, which targets the rights of the minority Sikh community in Pakistan. And we have conveyed that Pakistan needs to reverse its arbitrary decision which deprives the Sikh community of its right to manage affairs of the holy Gurudwara Kartarpur Sahib. I'll repeat this in Hindi. आपने हमारा पिछला बयान देखा होगा और पाकिस्तान का ये एक तरफा फैसला बेहद ही निंदनीय है। ये समस्त सिख समुदाय की धार्मिक भावनाओं और करतारपुर कॉरिडोर के प्रति उनके हृदय में व्याप्त भावनाओं के खिलाफ है। पाकिस्तान द्वारा की गई इस तरह की कार्रवाई उनके धार्मिक अल्पसंख्यक समुदायों के अधिकारों की रक्षा के उनके दावों को उजागर करता है। आज शाम पाकिस्तान उच्चायोग के प्रभारी को तलब किया गया और हमने इस कार्रवाई का कड़ा विरोध दर्ज किया है। इसके साथ ही साथ हमने उनसे इस मनमानी फैसले को पलटने को भी कहा है।
Shubhjyoti Ghosh from BBC has asked, there have been reports of attacks on Hindu families in Bangladesh's Kamila. Here in India, opposition Congress too has urged the government to take up the matter with Dhaka. What is the response from Government of India?
Our High Commission and posts in Bangladesh are in close contact with local authorities in Bangladesh. They have taken up this incident, and we have been informed that the Bangladesh authorities have looked at this incident very seriously, and the law enforcement authorities there are investigating the outbreak of violence. They also continue to remain vigilant to prevent any untoward disturbances.
Siddhant from Vion has asked, India asked Saudi government to take remedial measures on the note that showed different territorial borders of India. Any reaction from Riyadh?
Siddhant, we have taken up this matter with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and we have been informed by them that they have noted our concerns.
Next set of question is on China. Nainima from The Print has asked, are there plans to hold WMCC next week itself now that military talks are taking place? Shrinjoy from Times Now has asked, the 8th round of discussions are in Ladakh. Do we see any signs of disengagement or de-escalation by the PLA? Maha from CNN News 18 has asked, 8 Corps Commander meeting and 6 WMCC meeting have taken place since LSC crisis started in mid this year. Why has there not been any progress in reaching status quo ante?
As conveyed earlier, both our sides continue to maintain close communication at the military and diplomatic levels to achieve complete disengagement along the line of actual control. The two sides are guided by the leaders' consensus to jointly safeguard peace and tranquility in the border areas. We will continue to maintain the dialogue with the Chinese side to arrive at a mutually acceptable solution to the current situation along the LAC in eastern Ladakh.
Next set of question is on Chinese visa. Prashant from Asianet has asked, how do you see China's decision to restrict entry of Indian citizens? Similar questions from Shailendra from News 18, Shrinjoy from Times Now, Nainima from The Print.
We have seen the announcement by the Chinese embassy, and we understand that this is a temporary measure and changes can be expected in a timely manner. We also understand that the measure is not India specific and that similar measures have been announced for several other countries.
Siddhant from Vion has asked, anything on Kulbhushan Jadhav case?
Siddhant, we had conveyed our position earlier, I think, in the briefing in October on the 15th. And I don't have anything further to add. What I will say is that it is for Pakistan to address the core issues which concern this case.
Maha from CNN News 18 has asked, will Prime Minister Modi be participating in SCO Heads of State virtual meeting on 10th of November? Similar questions from Sandeep Dikshit from The Tribune and Nainima from The Print.
I think Sandeep also wants to know about the BRICS and G20 summit. Okay. So, see, on the SCO summit, I have already briefed you about PM's participation. The other two summits, I understand, are scheduled this month, and we will, at an appropriate time, make an announcement regarding the participation.
शैलेंद्र फ्रॉम न्यूज़ 18 हैज आस्क्ड, आज कोविड को लेकर विदेश मंत्रालय दिल्ली में अन्य देशों के राजदूतों को ब्रीफ करने वाला था, इस बारे में यदि कोई जानकारी दे पाए. Huma from Financial Express has asked, which are the countries where India is giving medical supplies and medicines, and beside the neighborhood, which are the countries India will send vaccines or testing kits, etc. If more details can be shared on such a plan of testing and vaccine cooperation with Mexico, Brazil or ASEAN. Archana from Bloomberg has asked, how many nations have approached India for receiving vaccine supplies? Could you name them, please? Who all will be part of the ambassador's delegation that will be given a tour of India's vaccine and diagnostic facilities in Pune, as mentioned by Secretary Shringla today? When is this trip planned?
Firstly, I'll brief you in some detail on this briefing. See, this briefing was organized earlier today, and it was on the COVID-19 related issues for diplomatic missions in international organizations. Over 180 representatives, heads of missions and representatives of international organizations participated in the briefing. And to give you some context, since March 2020, India has been proactively engaging with partner countries in our joint fight against COVID-19, and this includes supply of medicines, diagnostic kits and medical equipment. We have also organized online training programs for testing and case management. As part of our vaccine development efforts, and as this program has progressed, we have organized training programs on clinical trials for neighboring countries, in which nearly 90 experts from 8 countries participated. And we stand ready to expand these cooperation programs with other interested countries. The spirit guiding this program is what PM said in his address to the UNGA in September, which is that India's vaccine production and delivery capacity will be used to help all humanity in fighting COVID-19. So, coming back to today's briefing, the participants were briefed by member Niti Aayog, the principal scientific advisor to the PM, Health Secretary, Secretary Department of Biotechnology, Secretary Department of Science and Technology, DG CSIR. There were also representatives from ICMR and Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Foreign Secretary was also present, and largely the participants were briefed on our management of COVID-19, our vaccine development program, software and related issues of vaccine delivery system, and international cooperation in this regard. As regards the tour, this tour will be organized, I understand, later this month. It is basically open for all heads of missions and representatives of international organizations. And the participants will be visiting organizations in Pune where they can see first-hand institutions which are engaged in COVID-19 related research and vaccine development program.
Amity Sen from the Hindu Business Line has asked, the government of Bangladesh signed an MOU with the Serum Institute of India to collect 3 crore shots of COVID-19 vaccines when it is produced. Is there any more information on this?
Amity, I think you are referring to the MOU which was signed between the Serum Institute of India and Beximco Pharmaceuticals Limited to get 3 crore doses of SARS-CoV-2 vaccine. And essentially, this is a commercial agreement between a manufacturer and a buyer. We are, of course, supportive of supplies of medicines and particularly vaccines to all friendly countries, and priority, of course, are our neighboring countries. And this is, of course, dependent on availabilities, needs and supplies.
Madhurendra from News Nation has asked, नीरव मोदी केस में कोर्ट ने कई सबूतों को स्वीकार किया है. नीरव मोदी को भारत लाने के लिए क्या कोशिशें चल रही है?
मधुरेंद्र जी, नीरव मोदी के मामले में मैंने पिछले हफ्ते बताया था कि उनकी जो बेल एप्लीकेशन थी 9 अक्टूबर को उन्होंने अप्लाई किया था बेल के लिए और 26 अक्टूबर को यूके के कोर्ट ने इसको खारिज कर दिया था। उसके बाद हियरिंग 3 नवंबर को उनके केस में हुई है और हियरिंग में दोनों साइड ने सबूत पेश किए। नेक्स्ट हियरिंग डेट जो है इस समय 7 और 8 जनवरी 2021 की है और तब तक नीरव मोदी जो हैं जुडिशियल कस्टडी में रहेंगे। तो फिलहाल मेरे पास इतनी जानकारी है।
No
Are there any further questions? Thank you. So this concludes the weekly briefing.